went to play sports. He doesn't necessarily have to start playing basketball at that age or that young. Because growing up, that's what I did. I played every sport. So that probably prepared me for when I did start playing basketball at 16. I wasn't ready, but I had the footwork and I had some of the fundamentals.
Are there ways in which having a son has changed how you think about your job?
Yeah, it changed everything. We had him in 2020, and before that, I was not a serious human being. I was always joking around. I was always, saying whatever. I was always acting crazy. That was the golden days of my Twitter era.
Yeah, you famously were a very good Twitter troll, among other things.
Basically. Yeah. And then once I found out that I was having a kid, and then I was like, all right, I got to set a better example. I can't just be on Twitter just trolling, and that can't be my life. And that basically changed everything. The way I started thinking, my focus on basketball changed. Not that I wasn't taking it seriously before, but I even took it to another level.
Explain to me why having a child made you take it to a next level. Because I think, for some people, the thought process might be like, hey, I have a kid now. I realize maybe basketball is not the most important thing.
It was all about setting a good example. I think it came from my dad. Growing up, he was a handball player and really good too. And he was also in the Army. So I was always going to all his games and just watching him competing and succeeding, that was kind of like the bar for me. And I always told myself, I want to be better than him. So if that was the bar, I was like, I got to achieve more. And I don't want to put that pressure on my son, but if that's the way he wants to look at life, then if the bar is, winning all these things, then he has to be the greatest player ever, which at least, I think to me it's all about health. If I was healthy and all the seasons, that would be a different conversation. But
is the implication that you think you would be in the greatest player of all time conversation without the injury problems?
I think so. I think I'm that talented. I didn't start believing it probably until I say my fourth or fifth year in the league, where I had the opportunity to accomplish something special. And for that, obviously, you need to win championships. And to win championships, you need other guys. You need help. You can't do it by yourself. It's just impossible. So that's why, I want to win so bad. But then again, if you don't, you just got to understand, as long as you, worry about the right stuff, and if it doesn't happen, then I guess maybe it wasn't meant to happen. So, I kind of forgot the question, so I got lost. What was the question?
But you answered it. The question was about whether or not you feel like you were on a greatest of all time trajectory.
If you think about it, the thing that has stopped me all these years is just freak injuries. Every single playoffs, regular season, people falling on my knee or someone breaking my face twice. It's always about freak injuries at the wrong time. I really believe that, because I would have been, if I was more healthy, I think it would have been a different story.
Yeah. What is the psychology of having to come back from injuries over and over again? Because I think most of us can relate to, wanting to achieve something and working hard toward achieving something, and then through circumstances beyond our control, in your case, injuries, not being able to achieve that thing. So how have you learned to not get discouraged?
Going back to how I was raised and where I came from, it's always about pushing, wanting to be better for yourself. And there's only one injury that I've had that kind of put me, it was this past year where, mentally and physically, that's the first one that, it was tough. But every other one was always about, okay, it happens. What am I supposed to do about it? It's life. And then this past year was...
why was that different?
I don't know, just mentally, physically, because I was you playing your best basketball of your career, and it's just becoming so easy every single night. Like, you're winning games and dropping 40, 50, 60. Like, you just,
70. Didn't you have a 70-point game?
yeah, you finally got to figure it out. Like you just becoming like, you know what to do. You have an answer for everything that's presented to you on the floor. Double, triple teams, you just know where to go. Like, the system is in place, and the guys, everybody's doing their job, and then you're on your way to accomplish, a lot of good things, and then just like that, something happens. Someone falls on your knee again, and for this one, I don't know. I don't have any explanation to why like it was so tough, but it just was, mentally, depressing, physically, your body not responding the way it should.
So how did you deal with that when you were depressed and your body wasn't responding?
So same mindset, get back to it, work as hard as possible, not let anybody see any weaknesses, and act like everything is great, and hopefully you snap out of it.
You've been there in Philly about 10 years. I might get the numbers a little wrong, but I think you had 3 coaches in that time. There's been front office turnover. Other superstar players have come and gone. James Harden, Jimmy Butler. Do you find yourself ever having questions about, in the long term, whether Philly is the place where you can win a championship? Because there has been that sort of tumultuousness with the franchise since you've been there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everybody asks themselves questions. If you care about the right things and you care about winning, and it hasn't happened, which I'm probably at fault too.
Well, why would you be at fault?
Because I'm in injuries. I don't perform, at the level that I should. So that's why I'm at fault. But then again, if you want to win, the thing that I always talked about is, stability, continuity. Actually, having 3 coaches based on what I've seen is not too bad.
Not so bad.
It's not too bad. But still 3 coaches, 3 different systems. And, even within those coaches, every single year is something different. And then the players, every single year is like new co-star, like new players. And when you start looking at teams that have won, whether it's Golden State, Boston this year, Denver last year, those guys have been together for a long time. And then they just added a few other pieces that were able to take them over the top. So you start thinking about, you go through the years, the Jimmy year, we had pretty good team. And then we end up losing on a game-winning buzzer beater, against the eventual champions.
Famously, Kawhi Leonard, Game 7, the ball bounced around the rim and went through,
Toronto,
and you guys lost.
And the way I look at it is like, you got so close, and instead of what can we do to make the team better, but also having the same core, change the whole team.
No continuity.
No continuity.
You mentioned that Game 7 against Toronto, I think it was 2019. After that game on the court, you were crying. And I think for some people who were watching, that was an endearing moment. It showed how much you cared. And, probably for some other people, maybe they thought, we don't want to see athletes crying on the...
For the whole Twitter war, that was a fun moment for them. They enjoyed that.
Why? What were they saying on Twitter?
No, I don't know. I'm just, because I see...
You know what they're saying. Don't say you don't know.
To this day, I still see the video and the meme. That make fun of it. I just look at it. For some people, that just saw it as a way to kind of make fun of you. But I just care. Like, he hurts, losing.
But my question was whether or not that moment or that game was sort of a turning point for your demeanor on the court. Because I think leading up to that, you sort of had a more playful attitude on the court, sort of embraced the showmanship aspect a little bit more. And then after, it seemed like you were sort of more serious on the court.
2020 was probably my worst year in the NBA. I just wasn't having fun because going back to continuity, we got rid of Jimmy, JJ, and we basically started over. I'm just like, why? That just doesn't make sense. And then the following year, we're just struggling. We're not as good as we should be. And the whole year, I'm just like, I don't want to play basketball. I played that whole year. I'm like, I didn't care. It was just depressing. Like I just wasn't there. But it did change, because before that I used to interact with the fans and, always be, laughing. And, from then I just became more serious. And I think a lot of people in Philadelphia that think I don't care and I don't, care about basketball or because I'm not doing what they used to or, I'm not having fun. No, I'm still having fun. But I'm just so focused. I don't have the energy to just be interacting with it. I'm just trying to do the job. I'm just different. I'm more serious. I'm more mature, and I don't need to be doing that all the time. So, I mean, yeah, it's a lot to think about. But, I love Philly. I've been here, for 10 years, and he's looking like gonna be here for a long time and actually have an opportunity to finish my career here if they let me, if they want to.
What's the best cheesesteak in the city?
I don't eat cheesesteaks.
You don't eat cheesesteaks?
You want to know the real answer?
Yeah, this is the news item from this interview.
The best cheesesteak is Subway cheesesteak.
Subway cheesesteak? Everybody in Philadelphia whose dad is rolling over in their grave.
Yeah,
Tony Luke's, Pat's, Geno's.
I don't eat cheesesteaks.
Yeah. I'm not even from Philadelphia, and I'm shocked that you think the best cheesesteak is from Subway. That's an abomination. And so your dad was a colonel in the military, and I assume pretty strict. And my understanding, too, is that you have a fairly disciplined personal life. You don't drink and do other stuff. Is it ever hard to sort of fit into the culture of the league, when you're playing with a guy like James Harden, who's a famous partier, and you have the lifestyle that you have? Is there ever temptation?
No, there's never any temptation. I don't drink, I don't smoke, never in my life. So you might be around it, but I've never been like, I want to try it. To me, that's actually disgusting. Like, I hate the smell. Like, I just can't stand it. And it's probably because of the way I was raised.
Yeah.
But then again, like, to me, the way I look at life, it always goes both ways because it was a strict environment where I was raised. But then again, some people also tend to go the other way. And because it was so strict, then they decide to be wild because they weren't given that opportunity growing up.
And just sort of in terms of how you grew up and how you developed as a person, this is sort of a more serious approach at this topic than what we were just talking about. But, you lost your younger brother when he was 13, maybe you were 20 or so. How did that experience affect your thinking about life and what you want from life moving forward?
It changed a lot. I mean, losing someone that young and someone that's so close to you that young, especially because I wasn't around. I hadn't gone back to Cameroon since I got to the States, so hadn't really seen him in a long time. So, yeah, I mean, it was tough just going through it from my family, my parents, my mom to this day. All of us to this day, but especially for my mom, it still seemed pretty recent and pretty tough.
But did it change your priorities?
Yeah. I mean, family is really important. So, yeah, it made me not want to have 3 kids. Made me want to have 4 because there was 3 of us, and I don't like that number 3. I was actually drafted number 3, but I don't like number 3 because there was only 2 of us left. So I told my wife, I'm like, we better have 4 kids at least because without 2 is too little and 3 is not. I don't like that. So, and then just in life, just cherishing and just including family more in everything that's being done.
It's also, one of those things where it's like it exposes the great lie of sports, where I think we all operate under this idea that it's life and death, and it's not,
It's not. I mean, that's why I always tell people, like, even when it comes to, like, winning, everybody always asks me, like, how would you feel if you won a championship? I'm like, if it happened, it'd be great. I feel great. Like, I'm gonna enjoy to the fullest, and you're never gonna hear the end of it. But then again, if it just doesn't happen, what do you want me to do after I retire? Cry about it? No, just move on, live life, because, life is, is bigger than basketball.